Hi, welcome everyone to episode 75 of PopCultX. Today we have an excellent guest joining us. A really great conversation that we had with a comic book artist, and we'll go ahead and get into that here in a few seconds. But once again, I am Gabriel with Danny, co-host of PopCultX. We talk about everything pop culture from a Gen X point of view. So thank you once again for joining in. We'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah. So as it rolls into October here, even if you're watching this in November, we're just starting October. All the new horror movies and shows are really hitting their stride. And I tuned into one on Amazon Prime called My Best Friend's Exorcism.
Yes.
Now, I saw that and I was like, this should be interesting. The whole exorcist type of movies. It's not really scary to me, any genre of exorcism movies. So I wasn't expecting to be scared from the get-go. But fortunately for me, I was terrified with this one. No, this movie it wasn't meant to be scary. I think it was more of the comedy horror genre. But I enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. It was fun. It's set in 1988. So all the references were right in like our wheelhouse as Gen X. So everything from the music to the even the dialogue, just what they were saying. So it was really fun time. I enjoyed the friendship between the main characters, and yeah, it was good. Did you get a chance to see it? I didn't even ask you.
Yeah, I did get to see it.
Okay.
There's a lot of things about it that obviously would appeal to me and my aesthetics or what I enjoy. First of all, a scary movie, about an exorcism. So that, unlike you, I am terrified of anything related to the devil. Thank you to my Catholic upbringing. But this one is more into the horror comedy genre side of film. So I did enjoy it. It was fun. I loved the style of like the 80s. Mm-hmm. The music was very familiar to me because that's, when I was growing up, I listened to all those songs. In particular, Tiffany, I think for now is like, whenever I hear it, it takes me back to childhood. It's like such a good pop song. I love Tiffany. I think I had a poster of her like probably on my wall.
I tweeted about that. Yeah. I remember ripping out a page from like my sister's teeny bop magazines of her and like keeping it hidden in like my sock drawer or something like that, so I wouldn't get made fun of.
Yeah, I saw the comment and it sounded really creepy.
It did.
When you said that you hit it, and I didn't want to draw attention to how creepy it was. But then now that you've added that you hit it in your sock drawer, just makes it even more creepy.
It does. And I almost tweeted that out, but I was like, wait, that sounds even worse. So
I think that we should just leave the hidden picture of Tiffany alone.
Well,
it's a restraining order against you.
You grew up with siblings, right? With older siblings,
yes,
right?
Yeah,
and I had three sisters who were all roughly my own age, who teased me about everything. I was the only boy. So imagine if I had put that picture on the wall, the amount of teasing I would have got. So I took it, hopefully slyly enough where they wouldn't see it, that it was missing, and I kept it hidden. It was. I was 10 years old. What could I do?
Yeah. Fortunately for me, I had a different dynamic with my siblings. Not everything was great, but I didn't have to hide things in my side. But the other things that I really liked about this particular movie, My Best Friend's Exorcism, is obviously it's about friendship. It's about two best friends that one's sort of the pretty girl, one is like maybe the not so pretty girl that's kind of going through that teenage awkward, having a lot of acne. And it's really about their bond as best friends and how they're able to overcome, one of them becoming possessed. So it's really fun. There's a lot of funny like lines, some really cool like special effects, horror scenes or gross out scenes. There's one particular scene with some tapeworms that I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I feel like right now with like Stranger Things, with this movie, with Do Revenge, a lot of those like kind of throwback teen comedies, teen shows and movies are really popular again. Some of them are, like Stranger Things, a little bit more on the serious side. But more often than not, they're sort of more of like a throwback and kind of tongue in cheek of that era. And I really loved that era when, it was sort of a lot more innocent, like the mall culture, hanging out at the mall with friends and, being just regular kids and teenagers worried about like looking cool and playing arcade games and all of that stuff. Versus, having to be bullied online or, worry about
social media.
Yeah, your online social media presence and all that stuff. So it's just a fun time to revisit, I think, in films that those, 80s, early 90s. And you see that with a lot of kids, like really trying to relive that with their fashion right now. Everything that was 90s is really popular. So I welcome them. I really like reliving that time of my life. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed it. I recommend it. It's not, not in the top 10 of my favorite horror movies, but because we are in the beginning of like, scary movie month, I will, it was a good start. It was a good start to, what will be 31 days of scary movies.
Definitely. Yeah. My favorite line, I think, was "The power of Boy George compels you." And I was just laughing. That just cracked me up so much.
Yeah. It would have been cool to like have them have some like 80s stars play like adults in the, parents or teachers. I think it would be kind of cool. Like I love when they do that in movies or, they take those stars that we remember from our childhood and, drop them in, Molly Ringwald recently was in Dahmer and, it's kind of like, oh, wait, I really recognize that actor. Who is that? Oh, wait, that's Molly Ringwald. And you're like, oh my God, like I didn't recognize her because she was 17 the last time I saw her, in something that was really popular. So I think it's fun to see that. So it was a good movie. It was fun.
That's cool. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
One of the other things I watched was it's a web, I guess you would call it a web series. It's executive produced by Rosario Dawson. It's called Normal Ain't Normal. I'm not sure if you've heard about this or not, but it's a scripted episodic series based on real people, which I think is really cool. It explores the struggles, absurdities, and possibilities in post-COVID United States. So it's produced, I think, by BuzzFeed Video. So it's on their YouTube page. But it's got some really cool, interesting. They released their second episode, which stars what's his name? Defero Wunatai. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he's the actor who's also the lead role in Reservoir Dogs.
Okay.
So it's really cool. It's an interesting episode. It's about what's it called? The episode itself. I can't remember. Let me look. It's Unlord the Lord. So basically it's a Native American family who owns a slumlord or is a slumlord to a building and raising the rents to try and, help get rich, I guess, and flip the script basically on how Native Americans are taking back their land to a certain degree. Yeah. So it's an interesting series. I'm really intrigued by it. So I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it when they come out.
So is it scripted?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I wasn't sure when you said that it was real people. So it's
based on real people's lives.
Oh, okay. All right. Right. So, yeah, but fictionalized somewhat.
Yeah. Fictional. What does it say exactly? It just says it's dramatic, captivating, darkly comedic, follows characters who offer a unique, intimate glimpse into the U.S. growing fault lines of race, class, and extreme inequality. So, but yeah, it's based on real people's stories post-COVID and how we're all navigating it, how the world goes forward.
Yeah. Interesting. I'll have to check it out. And that's just on YouTube?
I think, just on YouTube. You look up, I think, BuzzFeed Video.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
I think right now I will have to make that wait until November because October I dedicate to everything that is horror related. So unless they do maybe one based off of a real life exorcist or something to that effect, I'll have to wait.
A real life exorcist. That actually be kind of cool. That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I was watching something that was talking about so let me kind of rewind here. The Exorcist was supposed to be based off of this book by that's based off of a real life case of a girl who had an exorcism performed and was died. And so I saw a movie that was supposed to be based off of that actual real life girl. I didn't watch it because it terrifies me. I as a kid, I remember seeing a picture of the girl who died based off of this exorcism that was performed on her, and it just scaring the crap out of me. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that there haven't been more documentaries on, real life exorcisms, because they still take place. Whether or not you believe that they're real, people are performing exorcisms and, pulling demons out of people or whatever. And I saw one recently, and I unfortunately, I think that it's a scam, that this female pastor, pulls demons out of people, and she's a con artist. But it was a mom and a father and a young kid. And I was thinking, God, they make this poor kid act out possession. Like, that's crazy.
That is.
But that's the world we live in. Like, it's crazy. So anyway, so there are some new horror movies that I'm probably going to be checking out. The first one being Smile, that's out in theaters. I heard
of that one.
So I'm going to probably check that out hopefully this week, and see, what's going on with that one. It looks like it's up my alley.
Is it going to make you smile? Yeah.
Yeah, horror movies make me smile.
Yeah.
Especially now that I'm done with Dahmer and I can, turn the page on that chapter of Netflix and real life horror. Like, I'm going to get back to unreal life horror. I want, fantasy type horror that doesn't happen in real life.
There's the Evil Dead from 2013. It's like a reboot, rehash, recall, whatever you want to call it. And it's out on Amazon Prime. I've been trying to find it to watch it. So I think I'm going to watch that over the weekend. That's something that I'm looking forward to, because I like the first three Evil Deads. Well, first two Evil Deads and Army of Darkness, the Sam Raimi versions, they were okay, but they don't really scare me. Horror movies don't really frighten me. I don't know if it's just me just rationalizing it too much and not really embracing it, but they don't really scare me. So I just go in there and I enjoy it. I enjoy them for the filmmaking that they are.
Oh, they say that's a sign of a psychopath.
That's right.
No, I think that it's probably, I have always attributed the fact that I get scared watching horror movies from my Catholic upbringing, going to a private Catholic school. They indoctrinate you with, the devil, demons, and then obviously being like part of, the Mexican culture, La Llorona, the Cucuy, it's so much ingrained in my culture that there are real life monsters, or monsters are out to chase you, that I have post-traumatic stress disorder.
That's your PTSD. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun. I do enjoy watching scary movies, especially like the cheesier, like teen, like Nightmare on Elm Street is like one of my favorites. Like, Freddy Krueger is like the best of the horror movie monsters, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, like he definitely beats Michael Myers and Jason by like a long shot. Like, he's like witty, but like really horrific. And
he's very witty. Yeah, I'll give him that. Yeah, his one-liners are.
Yeah, he's like so bitchy. Like, it's just hilarious. You can't describe him like other than like he's just so bitchy. So I love to watch him. So so this month is all about horror movies for me, or horror comics. I actually just received in the mail today my trade paperback of Philadelphia. So I'll be reading that tonight. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
That might be foreshadowing for people who are listening to our podcast.
Yeah, I've been reading Nina Ha's Nightmare blog. So that's also another foreshadowing of comic book creators. But speaking of comic book creators, let's go ahead and share with everyone our conversation we just had with comic book creator Jacob Edgar. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to PopCultX Little Talks. It's our conversation series where we get to meet and interview artists and creative people from different mediums. And tonight or today, whenever it is you're watching this, we are lucky enough to be joined by a freelance comic book artist, Jacob Edgar. Hi, Jacob. Thanks for taking some time to join us today.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me.
So, Jacob, you are in Georgia. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
So, is the comic book scene large in Georgia, or is that just something you brought back with you?
I guess it is a little bit in a way. So there's a big art school in Savannah. I live just outside of Savannah.
Okay.
And the Savannah College of Art and Design is there, or SCAD as it's more commonly called. And they have a big sequential art program is what they call the comics department. So there's a lot of people that come to Savannah for going to SCAD for comics, and then a lot of those people stay. I grew up in the area, so I'm a local and was from here, and then went to SCAD also. But yeah, as a result, there are a fair bit of comic people around here.
That's very cool. Very cool. Now you have a wide variety of I guess I would say your work is pretty diverse. So you've done issues for like Vampirilla, you've done some work for DC, it looks like for Marvel. One that really excited me also I saw was Death to the Army of the Dead, or Army of Darkness, sorry. And that's because that's one of my favorite movies with Bruce Campbell and everything, and that whole Evil Dead series. So I have to pick that up. Can you tell me a little bit more about your influences and what drew you to maybe even the horror side of comic books?
Yeah, my influences are, there's a big list, but the top ones are guys like Bruce Timm, Darwin Cook, David Mazzucchelli, Chris Samnee for current artists, John Romita Jr. I could go a long way. And then as far as horror comics, I actually wouldn't have thought that I would do horror comics probably. It's not a genre, like in terms of movies. I've never been a big horror guy, and certainly comics, I'm not a big horror guy. I am a Bruce Campbell fan. I have to admit, before I did that series, I had never seen Evil Dead. I had never seen Army of Darkness. I knew Bruce Campbell like from Briscoe County Jr. and Xena, stuff like that. So it was a fun part of the job, though, to get to dive into that stuff. I watched the movies. I watched the Stars show while I was drawing it. So
nice.
That was a lot of fun. And I think this cartoony and campiness, I was able to tap into that a bit more, especially with the tone of our story versus, like, obviously the first movie is just kind of a straight up horror movie, in a lot of ways. And our story, I think, is closer to Army of Darkness, probably.
Yeah, Army of Darkness is definitely campy. You would say that. Yeah, it's not really horror, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So I will definitely keep an eye out for that, and because I do want to read your series run with that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Cool. I have a question for you, Jacob. You mentioned a lot of the people that have influenced your work. As an artist, how did you create your own style while, having all those influences and maybe it being inspirational to you, and maybe you copying them to try to learn how to draw? How did that become where you became your own artist and had your own particular type of style of artwork?
Yeah, it clicked for me. The answer to this question, I heard Neil Adams in an interview say one time something to the effect of, your style is where your influences meet your limitations. So me as an artist, I'm trying to draw like Jack Kirby or Bruce Timm or all these idols that I have. And then where I fall short of that, that's my style. That's what comes out. So that's how I am now, since I heard Neil say that.
That's interesting. That's very cool. I mean, I hadn't heard about that. That's where your limitations are reached. That's your style. Yeah, that's it. That's you. You run with that. Yeah.
Right.
Were there any sort of beyond horror, beyond comic books, outside influences from like your life, that your own personal influence that you brought into your artwork as you were learning the craft? Now, is this something you've always wanted to do since a kid, since you were a child?
Yeah, I've been drawing ever since I can remember. Just like doodling on schoolwork or sketching in a notebook while we were taking long car trips, stuff like that. And then I decided at an early age that making comics is what I wanted to do. I was, I think, 11 or 12 when that bug hit me. But I've always been inspired by like animation. I was big into cartoons and animated movies. And then the other biggest influence is probably Westerns, like Western movies. I'm a huge fan of Westerns. And I've got to do that, dabble in some Western influence stuff a little bit in comics. And Nate Cosby and I did one Western story that's on Comixology. But yeah, that's a big one.
So when you have younger artists coming to you seeking advice and saying, what's the route to becoming a professional, insider or artist within the comic book realm, do you recommend that they go to an art school and learn the fundamentals and the basics of art or writing? Or do you say, just go ahead and go out and start creating the work that you want to see?
Yeah, I think it's some of both probably. I don't think that art school is something that you have to do. It definitely was a huge benefit for me. Mm-hmm. I do hate to see, I was fortunate and blessed that whatever like my financial aid or scholarships didn't cover. I had my grandpa who's passed away now, but he was able to foot the bill on anything else that wasn't covered. But a school, especially a school like SCAD, that's a lot of money to put into a career that you're not necessarily going to see returns, especially immediate returns. So, and there's so many resources out there now, whether it's books or tutorials on YouTube and all these different places, that I think you can get at least some sort of level of education outside of art school. And then the biggest thing probably is to have like some kind of pool of peers that you're this sounds harsh, but comparing yourself to, like, and bouncing ideas off of and getting inspired by and getting that feedback. I don't know if you can just in your room by yourself with books and videos get to where you need to be like on your own in a vacuum. I think you need some kind of outside input, but then certainly to be in comics, like they say, you have to be making comics. So just be making your work and be putting it out there. Especially online these days. I mean, go to cons too, but I always tell young artists, every job that I've gotten has come via Twitter.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So
and
networking is huge.
Twitter and Instagram, yeah.
That's cool. Well, that's how I found out about you, through Twitter.
Right.
And because you are collaborating with one of my favorite comic book writers, and that's Brian Michael Bendis, for a new series called The Ones. So what can you tell us about this, first of all, and then how did that collaboration come about?
So it came about, it was probably 2019 maybe, because it was pre-COVID. That's how we keep track of time now. It was pre-COVID. I had been doing these little one-page comic strip stories on my Twitter and Instagram of like Batman and Superman, just for my own like fun and putting them out there. And this guy Tanvir, who I owe a lot to now, he saw one of those and he tagged Brian in it on Twitter. And Brian responded and he said something like, "I love this, and thanks to you, we're going to work together someday." And I'm thinking, sure, yeah, okay. He's just being nice. But I think he DM'd me as how it went. And he was like, I was serious about what I said. And I was like, wow, okay. So that was kind of on the back burner that, okay, someday maybe I'm going to work with Brian Michael Bendis. And then I was working on Army of Darkness, I think, at the time, and he was doing his DC stuff. And so time went by, and then he reached out and he said, look, I'm ready to get together. And it turned out what he wanted to do was something creator-owned, something with Jinx World, which is what The Ones turned out to be, and it's going to be published at Dark Horse. He had like a list of things that he pitched to me, and then which was pretty cool. I got to choose
cool.
What really spoke to me out of ideas that some of them aren't coming out yet, so I can't give those away. But it was kind of amazing to be a guy who's been around so long and done so many things, that he's got this list of all these great ideas still that he's kicking around, which was really cool. So yeah, that's where the ones came from. And then so what it actually is, the general premise, without giving too much away, is all of these misfit characters who, in their own personal life or mythology that they come from, they have been told or believed their whole life that they were the one or the chosen one, like your Neos or
right,
whatever it is. Yeah. And so they all get brought together and find out that they're not exactly the one, and that they all need to team up and battle the actual one, who happens to be this evil child that's being born, and they have to tackle what they're going to do about that.
That's cool.
So I'm curious, you've shared some of the character, I guess, development on your Twitter, some of the way you created the look. How much freedom did you have when it comes to how the characters actually look? And is it a collaboration? You know, oh, this character should have red hair, or this character should look like this. Or is it just you reading the actual words and then a character pops into your head?
It was almost total freedom. Brian would give me, like a name, an age, and sort of a description. And then everything else was kind of up to me. I even named one of the characters, the one that our sort of superhero type, Novus. I came up with her name, pitched it to Brian, and he went for it. So I was like, yes. But yeah, he would give me little descriptions, and then everything else pretty much came from me, other than he did change the hair color on one of them.
That's cool.
Do you ever base the character design on people that you know, or maybe actors or actresses, models that you like, oh, they look like they could be a superhero, so you kind of incorporate some of their vibe into the character?
A little bit, like Novus, and I said this on Twitter, Novus is kind of Neo plus Jean Grey plus Frank Miller's Supergirl from Dark Knight Strikes Again. That's pretty much her formula. And then one of the other characters, Thrace, who's like this ancient warrior type guy, he's a little bit Jack Kirby, a little bit Tim Sale character, and a little bit Vinnie Jones. Because you'll see by the I think it's the second issue. By the second issue, he's lost his hair, and I started thinking he really looks like Vinnie Jones. So I was embracing that a little bit.
Nice.
And then there's another guy, Chester, who, and this came from Brian. Now that I think of it, Chester is based loosely on the guy. His name's Jacob. I don't know his last name, but the guy who plays Peter Parker's best friend in the new Spider-Man movies.
Okay.
Banton, I think. Banton, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something with a B. So Chester is loosely based on him, and then Wilson is basically straight up Owen Wilson. Wilson is the guy who kind of assembles all the ones. In the art, he's always got this sort of Don Johnson from Miami Vice sports coat on, and these ridiculous, goofy pun T-shirts. And he's basically straight up Owen Wilson.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You said, and I've noticed this. I don't know if it's post-pandemic or if it's just where it's heading. Creator-controlled content, so not independent. I guess it's stuff that you and Brian Michael Bendis are going to own the content, as opposed to it being through a major publishing house. Is that a shift that you're seeing more of, and that you're embracing?
Yeah, I think it's definitely the way that the industry is going, or the way that most people would like to go in their careers. Because obviously having a stake in what you're doing, having a share of anything potentially that happens with that project down the line, that's going to be more favorable than something that you're just doing as a work for hire. I'm a little bit trying to play both sides, because
Why not?
Yeah, and I'd love to do creator-owned stuff. I'm excited about the ones and everything that it can be, but at the same time, I'm such a fanboy that like anytime that I can work at DC and draw Batman and Superman, or jump to Marvel and draw Spider-Man, Captain America, I want to be able to do those things too. So I'm trying to play both sides.
Is there one particular character, as you say, as a fanboy, that you just find yourself drawing just because it's just fun to draw? Like you just love the character?
It's Batman.
Batman.
For sure. Yeah, it's Batman. Ever since I was a kid. Hasn't gotten old.
Very cool. Besides Batman, is there any character that professionally now you would love to animate or illustrate?
Yeah, Superman would be another one at DC. Daredevil, Spider-Man, Captain America. I really want to tackle. I really love to work on Zorro. I'm a big Zorro fan.
Ooh, interesting.
And there haven't been any Zorro comics in a while, but I would love to do some Zorro.
Very cool. We should hook you up with. We chatted with a author whose descendant, Joaquin Murrieta, was like the inspiration for Zorro.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, cool. And his name is Peter Murrieta, and their book Blood and Gold. And yeah, we should connect you guys and come up with some comics based on that.
Right.
As a fan of cowboy and like westerns, have you made it to the West Coast and to Texas or Arizona and been able to check out the the Wild West, if it were?
Does California count?
No.
Yeah, it does. Come on, especially with Zorro, California counts.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm from Arizona, so I think of like the Wild West is like Arizona,
right? Yeah, Monument Valley and all that stuff. Yeah, I've been to California by airplane, so I've flown over some of the West. Other than that, the furthest west I've been, I think, is Alabama. So it's on my to-do list. My wife and I talk every year about we want to go to Colorado or Utah or see the Grand Canyon, but we just had triplets and they turned 1 year. They turned a year old, so that's limiting what we can go do. Right now.
Wow! I'm surprised you even have the time to talk to us today.
Well, that's why I'm in such a drab background. I'm in the furthest room away from their room because they're sleeping right now.
Very cool.
Well, is that your first set of children?
Oh yeah, we went from 0 to 3 instantly.
Oh wow. How has that changed you being as an artist? There's kind of chaos now and you draw whenever you can, or?
Yeah, it's honestly made me, maybe I shouldn't admit this in public, but made me a lot slower. Brian and Daniel, my editor at Dark Horse, have been very patient and understanding with all of that as we kind of adjust to our new normal here. So yeah, it's made me a lot slower, and definitely there are a lot more distractions than there used to be.
Man, I can only imagine triplets. That's crazy.
Go big or go home, right?
Right. Yeah. There's 2 girls and a boy, so we got some of everything we can be done.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That's it. We're done. So we are a pop culture podcast. So I always like to ask our guests what your favorite movie or favorite music or something you're watching right now that's related to that. So what is your favorite movie or favorite TV show or favorite music or favorite book or favorite comic book? Any that you care to share?
Right now, the best thing I'm watching, and I'm watching a lot less TV than I used to also, but my favorite thing I'm watching right now is probably House of the Dragon. It's nice to be back in Game of Thrones world. And then I really loved The Old Man, the Jeff Bridges show that was on FX and Hulu, where he's like a retired spy. You guys seen that? That one's really good.
Okay.
Love that one a lot.
Nice.
Very cool.
Any comic books other than the ones that you're working on that you're reading right now?
Yeah, I've been reading, let's see, I've been reading World's Finest from DC. Really digging that one. Human Target. That's probably the best thing going. I love Greg Smallwood's art in that one. King Conan. which just ended. Been reading that. That's all that's. I know there's others, but that's all that's coming to me right now.
It's all you're allowed to read right now.
Yeah, there is that too. I have a pile of stuff I haven't gotten to. So.
We've talked to some other artists that mention the importance of music when creating their art and how they play music to kind of get into a vibe and start drawing. Does music inspire you in that way?
I'm probably more of a podcast guy usually than music. Unless I found that when I'm doing layouts, when I'm breaking down a script, music's better for me at that stage, because the people talking and trying to pay attention to a conversation, that gets a little too distracting. So when I'm doing layouts, then it's better to have just some music that kind of fades into the background.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm assuming soon your music choices will change from what you used to like Baby Shark and everything else. So that'll be on your mind.
Yeah, those are constantly stuck in my head, unfortunately. But I'm trying to introduce them to, I try to get them to listen to a lot of the Beatles and things that I hope that they'll like. They seem to like Yellow Submarine.
Nice.
And
That's
one
cool.
of my daughters was really into Back in Black by AC/DC. She really got her head going on that one.
Nice. That's cool. Now, are they identical triplets? Well, except for the boy, obviously, but
yeah. So the girls are identical, and then the boy is his own thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Well, if people wanted to follow up with you and see your artwork, is there any websites people can go take a look at your work and buy some maybe or something?
Yeah, so Twitter and Instagram, I'm at JCB Edgar. So it's my first name without the vowels, and then Edgar. That's the best place to follow me and keep up to date on anything. And then I do have an Etsy page where I share and sell some sketches and prints. So if you search Jacob Edgar on Etsy, or I think it's etsy.com/Jacob Edgar Art is possibly the link. You can find me there.
Nice.
Cool.
And the ones will be coming out next month, correct?
Yeah, November 2nd will be the first issue. I'm doing a signing at Neighborhood Comics in Savannah. So if you guys want to swing by the East Coast.
Yeah, we'll just hop in a plane, yeah.
That'll be on November 5th. I'm doing that signing. So yeah, November 2nd, the first issue.
Nice. We'll definitely be picking that up from our local comic book shop.
Sweet.
Yeah. Well, Jacob, thank you again very much. I know your schedule is probably pretty hectic now, so thank you for taking some time to chat with us today. We really appreciate that. Really appreciate you coming on PopCultX.
Yeah, thank you guys. This was fun.
Yeah, so thanks again, Jacob, for taking some time to talk to us about your art and what you, especially with your hectic schedule. So thank you again.
Triplets, oh my God. Talk about things that terrify me.
It fits right into the horror genre for you this week.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually, when I was going to school, my sister, a group of her best friends were actually quadruplets. They were called the Quads. And yeah, of course, Catholic school, you have to have, big families and lots of children. So yeah, the Quads were iconic from my childhood. They were definitely all four girls too. So it's interesting. I think I've always been jealous of people that have twins or are twins. I think it's really cool to have like that, person that you can just, that's really cool with. But I have heard horror stories of people that don't get along with their twins. But for the most part, I think it's really cool, like to have someone that's like your duplicate.
Right. Well, my nieces are twins, so they're not identical. So it's identical twin. My mom's a twin. My mom's an identical twin. So yeah, it's twins are interesting. I'll say that.
Yeah. I have uncles that are twins, cousins that are twins. I don't, I was going to say I don't think I'll ever have twins, but I know I won't ever have twins. So yeah, but they are cool. Like I think twins are very cool. But anyway, that's like such a weird tangent that I got off on. Twins are cool.
Especially the Arnold and Danny DeVito twins. Yeah, we'll leave it with that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that was a really great talk. I think everyone should definitely check out The Ones when it comes out in November. I'm going to be checking it out, picking it up from my local comic book shop. There is lots of good comics out. One thing that I've been particularly obsessed with is the variant covers by Maria Wolf. Who I met at Comic-Con. She is just killing it with these variant covers for Marvel. She has a Ghost Rider
I saw that
cover that's coming out. I'm not sure if it comes out tomorrow, but just badass, kick-ass, awesome covers. I mean, she's just really awesome. So definitely keep an eye out for that one as well while you're in the comic book shops. And what else is coming? There's a couple of comics that I have my eye out, but yeah, there's a lot of horror stuff that's coming out. One that I've been reading lately is The Silver Coin, which is sort of like a kind of like a tale script, kind of like every episode, every one is like an ironic tale of like fate where, you know, you don't do something right and it comes to bite you in the ass. So that's a really good one for anyone that's looking for something that is kind of on the scary side. I've previously recommended on our podcast, Something is Killing the Children. That's a great series. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. But some really great stuff out there to check out at your comic book shop and to support comics. Yeah,
definitely. And especially since we're going to be chatting with a few more coming up. So stay tuned for that. Also, and I don't know if you saw this, I'm sure you did. I guess we can make the announcement here. October 22nd, if you're watching this before then, we're having a huge first ever PopCultX Latin Excellence Writers Roundtable. And it's something I'm really excited about. It's something I've put on something similar to this before out in the real world, not virtually, for like fashion, people in the fashion industry. I had a fashion designer and a different photographer come in and we just had a nice conversation. It was a good crowd that showed up for that. And we had the panel and of course, a moderator. So I'm doing something virtually here for this. And this is just going to be authors, Latinx authors. So we have 5 authors who are going to be joining us and it's all on the Twitter page. So if you go look there, you can see everyone. And it's going to be really cool. Just getting to hear their perspectives and their stories and what shaped their writing style. And we have a wide degree of experiences from novice writers to New York Times bestselling authors. So it's going to be really exciting. So I'm really excited for that. October 22nd, 1 p.m. Pacific.
Definitely check it out. It's going to be huge.
I hope so.
Yeah, did I just channel Donald Trump all of a sudden? Like, it's going to be huge.
Please don't.
I know. Yeah,
please
no. Oh.
Stop now.
Again, something else that's terrifying. Anyway, but yeah, definitely check it out. Go to our social media page. Links, like us, subscribe, hit us up. If you have any questions that you would like to have us ask authors, people that are working in the industry that are creatives, please send us your questions. We will bring them up and hopefully get some great answers for you. So hit us up.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys next time.
Stay safe.